Russellville Police Department has bloodhounds, and they brought in bloodhounds to assist in the search. Because especially, he hadn't been gone that long. No one thought he could go that far, especially, in need of using an inhaler. So the dogs come, sniff the foam, and sit down. There is no trail.
That's scary.
Now, Rodney Letterman is missing. He's MIA. And that goes on. This was August of 2017. The search goes on through the end of the year. After the official search is over, the family pays volunteers, and people continue to search for him, but they never find him. Then in 2019, in the month of March, a hiker on the Butterfield Trail found Rodney's skull cap, the very top of his skull, sitting on a log right off the Butterfield Trail in plain view, in an area that had been searched 100 times, and in an area that hikers pass by. It was in plain view. So they found the skull cap. He called the park rangers. They collected it, did the forensic analysis, and found through DNA that it belonged to Rodney.
Oh, wow.
Now, how does that work? How does that work? And I tried to get a list of the missing people from the Parks Department, and just like David Paulides, I ran into a brick wall. You can send all the requests you want, but they're not going to give you anything.
You know what? I've done that myself and got nowhere.
Yeah.
And they offered it to him for $1 million. Figure that out. It was weird.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. David Paulides' story about $1 million. Unbelievable.
Well,
what I did was I found out that there were two Indian tribes, or one Native American tribes, that laid claim to that land. So I found, in northern Arkansas, a woman from, there are two tribes, Caddo and Kahino, or Cato or Caddo. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I spoke with an Indian, a Native American shaman or medicine woman. She called herself a medicine woman for the Cato tribe. And I spoke with her by phone. And I said, what can you tell me about the Devil's Den State Park area? And I told her I was writing a book, and I told her my whole story. And she's like, well, I'll be honest with you. Our people consider that a land that we can transit, we can move across. But we don't hunt or fish there. We don't camp there. It's simply a place that you pass through to get from point A to point B. But her words were, it is cursed ground. And I said, well, how did it become cursed? And she said, well, it's been cursed as long as anyone can remember. It's, as far as human history can recall, it's been cursed. So my son was at Michigan State University at the time, and I got a hold of a professor from the anthropology department who referred me to an archaeologist who did work in the Ozark area of southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, northeast Texas. And he was very familiar with the territory. And he said, we found Indian artifacts, Native American artifacts, all over the place, going back to Neolithic period, going back 7,000-year-old spear points, old campsites where they could date by carbon dating the leftovers. And he says, the odd thing is, we never found a single artifact or a single campsite within that Devil's Den area. It's absolutely void of any relics whatsoever. And he said, that's just strange. So something's going on there.
Now, do you feel it's an ET type strange or something else?
I don't know. I know that I experienced something extraterrestrial, and I want to get back to that before I lose my train of thought. But, sometimes I wonder, Bigfoot, ghosts, all these things, maybe they're all connected.
Well,
maybe with...
I was going to say this because sometimes I think Bigfoot, I encountered a Bigfoot, but maybe some of the Bigfoots that people are encountering are non-existent. That maybe the ET, when they are, like in your case, you felt subdued, you felt tired before that UFO craft landed and you were taken aboard it. Maybe they were scanning your brain, maybe your thoughts and reading your thoughts. I don't know. But maybe, people being out in the woods, they think, oh, Bigfoot, or whatever's in their mind, and they produce that like a hologram or something in that nature to, scare people or something. I got a funny feeling that is tied in with the ETs. I just think, but it's weird. I don't know. It's the situation you went through is scary as hell. It really, it really is. Now I want, because we only have you for about 40 minutes more. I want to say that when you went back, you went into the hospital, that you were investigated by, the military. I want you to go into that because I want to talk about after the news here, because we got to go to news here in about 6 minutes. I want to talk about your implant and what has been going on with you since then. Because, that's what we got to touch base on this part 3 of the show with having you on.
Yeah, because there's been so much happened since I published the book because, it seems like that opened the door. What opened the door was in 2012 when I hurt my knee, or my knee was hurt. I went to the emergency room, and that's when they found this crazy thing above my knee that looks like a electrical component, and the things below my knee that look like, like little pieces of bone arranged in a floral pattern in the middle of my calf muscle. And, I had been a runner for 40 years. I enjoyed running. I didn't run marathons, but I'd run 4 or 5 miles every day. But I ran almost every day. And every time I ran, since 1979, when I got out of the military, there was a spot just above my right knee and lateral that would go dead numb right about the time I'd hit the 2-mile mark. Give or take 50 yards, but right about the time I hit the 2-mile mark in my run, that spot would go numb. I could stick a pen in it. I could take a pen and delineate the outline. It was a perfect little circle. And that would stay numb for about 30 minutes. And in the early 80s, I asked my doctor one time, I said, hey, when I do my run, this spot here goes dead numb. Like it's had a shot of Novocaine or something. And she kind of blew it off and said, it's probably some kind of histemic reaction, whatever that is. And she said I wouldn't worry about it. And so I didn't. And then in 2012, when I saw that X-ray, I realized immediately that numb spot, as I called it, on my knee lay directly above where that computer chip-like thing was. So there was a relationship between the two. And that's been like that since 1979. And Gary, just seeing that X-ray was like a punch in the face for me because it brought back thoughts about that night and the realization that at some point during this abduction, these things put their hands on me. And that was just too much. That was just overload. And, I had kind of come to peace with this. I'd have nightmares a couple times a year directly related to it. But other than that, I had, learned to live with it. But something about knowing this thing was inside me I was over the edge. And, that was tough.
Well,
and that was, go ahead.
No, what do you feel the implant is there for?
I wish I knew. like Whitley, like a lot of other people I've talked to. I've talked to people from all walks of life who've had similar experiences where they end up with, a piece of metal or something that's foreign. That there's no scar. There's no way to show how this thing got underneath my skin, and that's what kind of confused the doctor, because the radiologist said, to have a little piece of metal or whatever this is in your leg, there should be a scar there. Especially when you get it buried that deep in fascia and muscle tissue, there should be a scar. Well, there is no scar.
That's the scary part.
Asking, yeah.
That is so scary, because I know what you're going through on that, because my situation back when I end up, going in back in the early 2000s, I went in for, body scan, MIR, whatever that was. I was having some health issues and stuff like that, and I go to the doctor's office. Now, I had an encounter myself, in the mid-'70s in New Mexico, in the desert. But, it's funny. I come back to the doctor, and I walk in the doctor's office. The head nurse says, "Hi, Gary. By the way, where did you get that metal? It's next to your spine." This is down below the neck, maybe about 6 inches down. And I go,
wow.
And she goes, "Did you have surgery?" I go, "No." "Well, is it any war related?" "No, nothing I remember." And then I go to the doctor, and then the doctor, first thing out of his mind, out of his mouth was, "Where did you get that? Did you have surgery?" And so he's now looking at my back. Before it was like my leg issue and my tailbone, because I fractured it in the military. And he's looking at it. And he goes, "I don't see any scarring. I see no place where that size of metal could have entered in. There's no sign of it." I brushed it off for many years. Honestly, I didn't realize here to maybe about a year ago something weird, the same way you did. And I tell you, it's scary.
It's very scary, very scary. I recall that doctor. I said, "Doctor, if you've never seen this happen before, then what are the possible medical explanations?" And he says that whatever is in your body got in there through no means known to medical science.
That is scary. Now, we got to go for break. Now, this break here, I got to warn you, is 8 minutes long. So if you want to get a cup of Java or whatever you need to do, now's the time to do it. We'll be back with Terry Lovelace after the break and after the news. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio. Check out our website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.